Girl, you the band, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing is friend. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition. Stay on the pivot, hope be watching, they be plotting. She's so Girl, you the band, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing is friend. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition. Stay on the pivot, hope be watching, they be plotting. She's so Girl, you the band, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing is friend. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition. Stay on the pivot, hope be watching, they be plotting. She's so Girl, you the band, and she love me when I'm in it, and she never be pretending. Nothing is friend. She gon' tell you what she bought it, cause she know you can't afford it. Know you can get it, looking exquisite, no competition. Stay on the pivot, hope be watching, they be plotting. She's so
Hi, we're getting ready to get started with the one, the only Miss USA. I cannot wait for you guys to meet her. Let me just fix the screen so make sure you guys can all hear me. If you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up. And we are ready to go. Yay, Miss USA! And happy birthday! Come on. Oh, no, I can't hear you. Yeah, that's so weird. Can't hear you. Can you come back in? Let's try it one more time. Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I don't know what's happening. Let's see. I can't hear you. Can you? Oh, let's close her out again. Oh man. We'll see what happens. She's gonna come back in again. My daughter and I were supposed to do a little singing for her, which I'm sorry now ahead of time, but that was gonna be our little surprise because my daughter loves her. Well, we both love her, but let's try. Man, I can hear you already. Oh, good. Oh, we'll try again. I could see her on my side. She's coming, guys. Sorry for the delay. We're having some technical difficulties. I'll go ahead and introduce you to my beautiful daughter. Vanessa is here with me. She wants to sing happy birthday to her. All right. Let's try this again, even though it's this way. There we go. I can hear you.
There we go. I can hear you guys too. Yay.
Yay. You ready? All right. Happy birthday to you. Belated. Happy birthday to you. Belated. Oh, we can't even see you. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I wanted to see you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oops. All right. How's everything going for you?
It's going well. It's going well. You know, just hanging out inside, trying to get through this.
Oh, man. I'm sure your schedule has slowed down a lot, but you're still having a lot to do. I see you on live all the time.
Yeah. I think the only thing that's really slowed down is my travel. Other than that, we're still just as busy as ever, putting together content, you know, being responsive to our audience and answering questions, doing interviews on both sides. So it's still been crazy.
Oh, that's great. Well, I know. All right. She wants to ask a couple of questions. I'm going to have her do that and then head off. I couldn't not let my daughter have this opportunity. So I kind of.
You've got matching hair too.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
So what are your questions? What do you have for me?
All right. When did you start pageants?
When I was a freshman in high school. So I was like 14 or 15. I did my high school pageant.
Okay. And do you like doing pageants?
Yeah. I wish I was still competing in pageants. You know, right now I'm just holding the title of Miss USA, but Miss Universe was like my last pageant, which is kind of sad. So I liked competing. I wish I could do it again. But you know, I think right now I'm just grateful that I get to have this platform and use my voice for the causes that are important to me.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, sweetheart.
Good job.
It's bring your daughters to work day for real. So, I was like, oops. Yeah, just replug it back in. It's fine. Moving of the chair undid a light. So it's all good. Well, anyway, I won't hold you up because I know you do have a very busy schedule. So you mentioned that your schedule has changed a lot, or hasn't changed much. Only thing changes really is that you don't have to travel as much. What else have you noticed since being on oh my goodness, social distancing right now? Well, not social, physical distancing. I'm trying to change the terminology with everyone else with physical distancing. How has that changed you? Have you noticed any differences about yourself or something that you're like, oh, I'm even stronger than I knew when it comes to certain things? Or
I think one of the most important changes has been sort of having to force myself to maintain a schedule, because before this, you know, my travel schedule is really what dictated what time I woke up, what I was doing that day, what I'd be able to accomplish. And now that I'm home, I have a lot more pressure on me to maintain my own schedule. So it feels like before I was Miss USA, I controlled everything about my own schedule. I knew when I was traveling because I decided when I was going to travel.
Right.
And then when I won, it was sort of out of my hands. And so now things are sort of back in my hands, and that like if I want to, you know, wake up early and do a workout, that's on me. You know, that I don't have to ask anybody else if we can work that into my schedule, because it's really my decision.
Right. Now, are you still, because I know you're also with Extra as a correspondent, are you still able to do a lot of your duties with that as well? I mean, because with being Miss USA has a lot to cover already, but how did that work as far as your schedule, even before all of this was happening? How were you able to, because now so many people are now having to shuffle so many different schedules, being a mother, being a homeschool teacher, and all of these different things at the same time. So how did you juggle all those different hats that you were working?
Yeah, you know, I think it does take a lot of juggling, and there is still a lot that we're doing with Extra. I still do interviews with them all the time. We're always doing tracking and voiceovers. I shoot stand-ups here in my own apartment on my own. So it's like, you know, I really appreciate our sound and audio and lighting guys, because now I've got to figure it out by myself. But you know, that's just part of the job. Part of the job is like balancing a busy schedule and making sure that you take the time to give to each of your different the different things that you're doing.
Right. Now, since you brought it up about working from home, a lot of people right now are doing webinars or doing Zooms or having to work using the same kind of equipment that you're using. Do you have any tips that you've learned from not only from working as Extra TV correspondent, but with even being in Miss USA? I mean, we might as well learn from the professional and the expert on this. Any tips you can give us?
Tips about what?
For doing webinars, I mean, whether it's what gear or just what you've learned is worked really well for you as far as like camera presence, or because everybody's now doing Zooms compared to when they used to have to do everything in person. So now they're working in front of cameras and maybe never had worked in front of a camera before.
Yeah. I think a few different things. I think you always want to make sure that you've got good sound and audio, and that you've got good lighting. So some of the things that I've seen people do that have helped is a lot of people have like AirPods or headphones that they'll use, especially headphones that allow you to talk into them, not just headphones for listening, because that will help to cut some of the external chatter that you have going on, whether that's from like dogs or kids or siblings or friends or whatever. That can make things hard for other people in your webinar or in your Zoom call. And then good lighting is really important. So I usually do all of my Zooms or my interviews right here in my room because I have this giant window right in front of me, so I get a ton of natural light. But I also have a ring light that's like sitting right here, so it's like, I'm kind of washed out right now actually. But making sure that you have adequate lighting is important. And then a lot of times people are doing Zooms or webinars or conference calls with large groups of people, and especially in the interviews that I've done, people don't want to talk over each other if I'm doing like an interview with more than one person. So directing questions to one person or another is helpful rather than directing questions or feedback to the group, because then people end up talking over one another, and then it just takes a long time for people to be like, oh, my bad. Oh, sorry. I think oh, sorry. And it's so awkward. So directing questions or inquiries directly to specific people is helpful too.
Those are great tips. Now, a long time, well, not really a long time ago, I think it was like in October, you were here in Raleigh, North Carolina, where you did Women Empower X, and I had the great joy of doing one of your seminars. And I think it was like from courtroom to something like that. Something like that. It was really cute. Whatever it was, I was even in my notes, I was like, freaking dyslexia. I wrote it backwards, so I have no clue what was right. Or something. Boardroom and courtroom. Yeah. So I'm curious, what other tips that could you think of for people who are maybe a lot of college kids that are graduating who are now going to have to do their interviews even through Skyping? And since you're kind of the master of interview skills, because I'm sure for training for Miss North Carolina and all the pageants you've done before then, and then doing Miss USA, you had probably the best speech or speaking coaches that anybody could possibly get. So any tips that you learned from them that you could give for others that might be, doing interviews, not like job interviews from just graduating?
I think that one of the important things I like to do beforehand is sort of self-talk, self-affirmations, and prepping beforehand. Because in a lot of the interviews you'll do, especially if you haven't met a person before, they're going to make their decision. I think I did some research on this, and I think most people, maybe it's like 60%, 50%, something around that. A large number of people make their hiring decisions within the first minute or so of the interview.
Oh, wow.
So you really have to prepare beforehand and know beforehand how you're going to walk into that interview. So people have talked I think there was a study on power poses that you can do.
Oh, yeah, I remember your Superwoman pose.
Exactly. You're making yourself bigger, holding your hands up, doing stuff like that for a few minutes beforehand so that you feel a sense of inner confidence and know that when you're walking into that interview, you're presenting a confident face from the outset, because that is so essential. People usually believe, even if they're not actually very good at making snap judgments, they usually believe they are good at making snap judgments, and so they'll make decisions about you early on. So just walking in with a good face is essential, even more essential sometimes than actually what comes out of your mouth.
I would agree with that. That's a really great point. Now, I want to make sure that we talk about your role as an impact ambassador for Dress for Success, because that's such a great organization. And I think during this time, a lot of people don't really know where to volunteer or how to volunteer from home. So can you speak to whatever that or what options there are with Dress for Success or any others that you might know of? Because I think even Miss Universe is doing something as well to help.
Options for people to give back to organizations during the pandemic?
Yes.
Yeah, there are tons. So yeah, certainly Dress for Success, and I think the need for their services is probably going to increase the closer we get to the end of the pandemic, given that they do a lot of mock interviews, resume review, connecting people with job opportunities, giving women clothing for jobs. So I think obviously their services are going to be essential, and I hope that people will give to Dress for Success. But beyond that, I sit on the board of directors for Big Brothers Big Sisters of America, and giving to them would be essential, especially because they connect with so many children in our communities who need help, who need mentorship, or who just need a kind word sometimes. And so I hope that people will give to them as well. Beyond that, we've had our University United campaign just to make sure that people stay connected with each other and don't feel so isolated. And we've talked during that campaign about giving to Feeding America. There are so many kids and families that have been experiencing food insecurity, and working with that organization is great too. So there are tons of organizations. Those are the ones that I've really been focusing on.
No, I knew you were the perfect person to ask, because when you have to do or compete for Miss Universe or Miss USA, you have to have a great platform. And I'm sure you've been around so many different women that you've heard, oh, that's a good one too, or got involved with. So I didn't even realize you were on the board of Big Brother, Big Sister. That's awesome. I'm sure right now kids probably get very excited. I know my daughter did, just the idea of you. So,
oh, she's so sweet. Little glasses and everything. I should have worn mine. We would have really matched.
Oh, really? Are yours red as well, or just because
I have like maybe 6 or 7 pair of glasses, so I have like every color under the sun.
Like, shh. Just kidding. She's not in the room anymore. Don't give her those options. Her first pair were these cute, like bright turquoise ones, and they stopped making them for her size. And I'm like, man, because they were the cutest ones out of all the ones she has. But she loves having bright colored ones in that. Like,
well,
whatever pair you want.
Colors, I order a lot of my prescription glasses on Zenni Optical. And I had one pair that I recently broke. I'm gonna buy a new one. They were like these bright pink, really thick rimmed glasses that were $7. Prescription glasses for
so adult and kids.
Yeah, adult and kids, and they've got a huge range of like I said, prescription glasses and prescription sunglasses. They have like UV ray one, well not UV ray, like the
blue screen or
they
blue light. Sorry.
Yeah, tons and tons, and so that's where I do all my shopping.
Since you're giving away beauty tips, not really, but kind of. Might as well go ahead and jump into the next one. I was actually watching your live today when you were doing your makeup, and I was like, oh, great, she's not doing lashes. I don't have to do lashes. I'm so sick of them. Oh, I tried. I was practicing last week by wearing them for this week, and by Monday, I was done. I just felt like they hurt so much taking them off with the glue. So I'm going to try some magnetic ones next week and see. Well, hopefully they arrive. They're not essential, so whenever they get here, they get here. But I'm going to try those now. I'll let you know if they're any good. But man, you were so right. The lash conditioner is way to go. Did you ever mention what lash serum you use?
Yeah, I use the Rodan & Fields one.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just pains me every time I have to buy it because it's like $180 with taxes and shipping and everything. But I mean, it really did make my lashes grow, so it was worth it.
Look, it's an investment. It's not within yourself. So, any other beauty tips that you could give people for maybe again for webinars, but just in general? Because Miss USA, you got to ask all the beauty tips as well.
So one of the things that we had a facialist we used to go to here. I just haven't been in a while because everything's shut down right now. Right. But one of the things she used to always tell me was I need to be exfoliating more often. Mm. And so I have like a kohl mask that I'll do every now and then. I have one of those it's not really electric. It's like a battery operated brush that has like spinning brushes on the end.
Oh, like a Clarisonic?
Yeah, kind of like that, except that's not the brand that it is. I don't even know.
No, Clarisonics are pretty crazy, so.
Yeah, I really like the one. I just don't remember what brand it is. Oh. And so I use that a fair amount for exfoliating because it was something that I just gotten lazy and hadn't been doing in a while. And then just drinking a lot of water has been helpful, but it's frustrating because it feels like a chore. I'm like, oh, let me guzzle this water yet again.
Yeah, I see like some people will walk around with these gallons of jugs, and I'm just, man, I wish I had that kind of dedication.
Yeah. These
I
are
try.
literally, I was showing people this on my live today.
Oh, great.
I have literally these 2 bottles, and I just fill both of them up every day, and
Oh, that's
I get
great.
both of them. Because otherwise, you're constantly refilling throughout the day, and I'm just too lazy for that. So I end up just filling up once and hoping that I finish.
No, I get it. And so while we're talking about beauty, I want to find out about your inner beauty and who is it that inspired you to even to pursue going into pageants or even going into law?
It was my mom. My mom inspired me to compete because she was Mrs. North Carolina US 2002 when I was a kid. And, just watching her win, watching her reign was exciting for me. And I wanted what she had, which was, a voice and the opportunity to speak to people and have people listen to her. I was like, 11 years old. So that's the time when people aren't listening to you, they're telling you things. So yeah, I think that was, frustrating for me as a child. And I remember growing up and thinking like, I want to be listened to. So she was really my inspiration. As far as being a lawyer, actually, what's funny is when I was in, I think 7th or 8th grade, there was a program in North Carolina. I think they still have it, the Duke Talent Identification Program.
Right.
Where if you're doing well, yeah. So if you're doing well in school or something, they identify you for this program, and you take the SAT, and then they send your scores off to some schools. So there's this school, Mary Baldwin, that had a program for the exceptionally gifted in Virginia. And I remember we visited this school, and we were talking about the program that they had was like, if you get accepted, you skip high school, you go to this program, and then you would finish your high school curriculum in 2 years and a college curriculum in 2 years. So in 4 years, when you graduate at the age where you would usually graduate from high school, you graduate from college. And we were thinking about doing this. They sent us a letter and said, please apply. We'll offer you this scholarship. And while we were there and we were visiting, I told them I wanted to be a plastic surgeon. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely what I'm going to do. Me and my mom had talked about it. I was like, yeah, this is how I envision myself. And they were like, great, we're going to send you to a biology class. So I said, okay. So I sent me to the biology class, and they were dissecting pigs, and I wanted to throw up. And so I remember at that moment, I was like, I can't do this. Like, what else am I good at?
Right.
And from the time I was little, I was always good at talking for people, representing people, arguing, never really frightened me. And so eventually that became the plan, was that I was going to be an attorney.
Oh, that's great. And you went to Wake Forest, right?
Yes, for law school and then for business school. Mm.
What's funny is my aunt went there for law school as well, and she's a judge here in North Carolina.
That's awesome. Where?
Yeah, I was like, wait, that seems I've been there before. Well, for her graduation, that's
where is she a judge? Which district?
Anson County. Well, she does like 5 counties. So Anson County, Lee County, Rockingham County, all in that area.
Is that the eastern part of the state?
Yes, it's like an hour outside of Charlotte. It's where The Color Purple was filmed. But Wadesboro, Liesville.
She's a Superior Court judge, District Court judge.
She deals with criminals and families.
Okay, so like family courts, usually like
she's too busy to ever talk to me. That's all I know. Our daughters play FaceTime, and she'll text me because every once in a while she'll watch a show or something, and she'll text me, and so that's the only communication I get with her. And so whatever I can get is what I get. I don't even know what she does for her job.
And you said this is your aunt?
This is my aunt.
So your aunt is Black, I'm assuming?
Yes. She's the first one in those counties.
Really, the first Black judge?
Or not woman, but Black judge, and the fact she's a Black woman judge.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. What's interesting is, I talk frequently when I was in law school and when I was an attorney about the lack of diversity in the legal industry. And I remember coming to Charlotte and having to argue motions or go to hearings or whatever in Superior Court in Mecklenburg County, and seeing the amount of diversity we had. There were so many Black female judges, in Superior Court, District Court. I mean, our Supreme Court Chief Justice in North Carolina is a Black woman. I mean, I think she has said once, because North Carolina hosted the Chief Justice Council this past summer. Okay. And I think she said that we
right in Wilmington, right?
No, we were in Boone. Because we went to the the Biltmore
I know
School.
my aunt went to Wilmington, so I was hoping maybe that was the same thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have tons of judges conferences, but this one was like the chief judges conference that we hosted. And she said that our court, North Carolina, is the most diverse Supreme Court in the nation. Because I mean, we've got like women, we've got people of color, we've got people from different. I mean, it was really really cool and made me really proud of the diversity.
And speaking of proud, how exciting was it for you when it was the trifecta this past year with you being Black, Miss Teen being Black, and Miss America being Black?
Yeah, well then we added Zosie as Miss Universe,
Right.
and also Miss World, which was really cool. I think it was cool just watching it sort of evolve because at first, I remember watching. I think it was on my birthday that Kaylee Garris, Miss Teen USA, ended up winning, and so of course, you have Haley Colborn, who was Miss Teen USA 2018, who was a woman of color crowning another woman of color, and she had curly hair and she was really beautiful. Yeah, and I remember thinking, wow, there's no way I'm going to win because we look too much alike. There's no way they're going to crown two of us. And they did. And
you went natural for your competition as well.
Yeah. So I knew that we were going to have like a similar hairstyle. And I just remember when I won, I just didn't really think about my friend who was Miss America, Nia. I didn't really think about the fact that now all three of us were women of color until people started posting about it on social media. And then I thought, wow, that is true. I didn't really think about that. I just thought like we all won, which was really dope. But now we get to be a part of this really cool moment.
And then you guys also did a lot of speaking arrangements together, but that cover on Essence, or not cover, but the spread in Essence, I have that magazine and it is just dreamy. How was it shooting it though? Like, were you guys
really exciting
the entire time?
Yeah, I think the moment that the importance of our wins really dawned on me was when we walked into the photo shoot. Kaylee, Miss Teen USA, and I had walked in together because we'd ridden together and everything. And there's this giant room. There's so many people in this room. There's this giant conference table. There's like a lounge area. There's a giant dressing area, like a few makeup stations, and then like the place where we were going to shoot. And I remember turning to her and thinking, I remember asking, I think it was our director of PR who was with us at the moment. I remember asking like, oh, what are they doing after they're done with us? And she was like, oh no, this is all for you guys. I was like, oh my God, this is so crazy. So I think that's the moment that it really dawned on me that this was really big and that there were people who cared because they put all these resources behind this incredible shoot, and it was incredible.
So were there any other moments that you can reflect back on since becoming Miss USA or even becoming Miss North Carolina that you're like, wow, even though I saw what my mom did, I didn't know what I was getting. Like this was some aha moments where you're like, this is amazing. I can't believe this is my life.
I don't know. I think just winning Miss USA, and I think the flight from Nevada to New York City was when things sort of started to set in, I guess, because it was so surreal. You think about winning and you dream about winning and you dream about that moment, but you don't think necessarily about the day after and what the day after is going to look like and what happens then. And then it happens and you're like, so this is like the behind the scenes look. This is kind of crazy. And it was like getting on a flight with my new manager, the director of talent for the Miss Universe organization and Miss Universe, and we're getting on a flight and people are applauding us. And I mean, it really was very surreal. But I think that moment, it really was really fun. And I was looking at my scrapbook and just remembering all of that. And it was really, really cool.
Now, since you brought some of this up, what are some of the perks that you get as Miss USA? Like, is your team around you? Like, how does that all work? What are some of the things that us civilians wouldn't know that kind of exciting for you, or that you're going to have a hard time letting go once you come back to being a civilian again?
I think that when we, having the Miss Universe office so close to us and just having those resources in general is incredibly helpful. So like I said, we have a director of talent, Esther Swan, who is incredible, who has so many resources and it has a wide network that really helps us. We have Paula Shugart, who we get to talk to, who really supports us and has continued to check on me and Zosie since this pandemic has evolved. We've got lawyers over there. We've got our accountants. We've got a huge team of people who really are behind the Miss Universe organization. And for us, it's just exciting to be a spokesperson and to be the one representative who gets to help push the message forward.
Now, what was your schedule like before all of this? Like, how many speaking arrangements or interviews? What was your traditional day like? Like, just in case there's kids out there, because I'll get to comments in a little bit because I want to make sure I get all my questions in before I get all the other questions that are coming through. But for some of the girls that are,
I'm gonna close this window really quick. No, I'm listening though. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's fine. I didn't know if it was going to close out on me. So, but what would be your advice for competing for Miss North Carolina or any pageant, because in case they're out of the state, before we move on to there?
Any state pageant competing, I would say two things. One, know what you want beyond just winning. Because I think if you go in with a plan of just winning, you're going to miss out on a lot of growth and personal development that pageants give you. I remember when I competed in the Miss America organization for a couple of years, and the second year that I competed, I was first runner-up, and I would not recommend being first runner-up to anybody. It's terrible. I hate it. It's just the worst. I would rather not make top 5 than because it's really sad. And but I remember, reflecting on that.
I love your honesty about that. Everybody's like, it's so an honor to be nominated. No, it sucked.
It is. And, it is wonderful that you did so well. Obviously, you're second place. If this were the Olympics, you'd have a silver medal. But, in pageants, you don't get that. You're just like, thank you. And then you move away as they bring the flowers to the winner. And that's just, it's not fun experiencing that. And like, even though you are happy for that person, it's okay to be sad inside. Like I like to equate it to like, the Super Bowl or like the NBA championship where like, the guys who lose are allowed to be sad and cry on the court while they shake everybody else's hand. But for some reason they think that, me being first runner up, I'm not supposed to be sad. No, it's very sad.
We're not allowed to show
almost one
we're hysterical or we're being dramatic. So
yeah, it's like, no, I trained for this. I wanted this. But, I think what losing taught me was that, there's so many other things that I learned and gained from that experience and got to take away, even though I didn't win. So that's one of my pieces of advice is just, figure out what you can gain from the experience aside from winning, whether that's sharpening your interviewing skills, whether that's getting together a reliable workout and, nutrition schedule, whatever it is, there's something to be gained there and you can figure that out, what it is besides winning. And two, if you do win, get ready for a ride. It is craziness. Like, I thought my schedule was busy beforehand and it just like spiraled out of control when I was a state title holder. So, but get ready for that. There are additional skills that you learn after you win that I wouldn't take back for the world.
Well, I have to admit, I did 2 pageants in my life.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I tried. I did Miss North Carolina USA first. Mm-hmm. Didn't place, didn't even make it to like on stage interviewing. Mm-hmm. I bought my dress from Cachet, so it wasn't even like evening gown. It was more like maybe I'm going to hang out with my dad at one of his fancy friends' parties.
I don't know. Cachet used to make some really nice.
I don't know. It wasn't those kind of Cachet. It was like I'm just going to hang out with my dad. Cachet, not the glamour Miami Cachet dresses. Oh no. And so the second time I actually bought my dress from a consignment shop and it was beautiful. I can still fit it. So I love that dress. It's my favorite dress in the world. And it was for Miss Charlotte. And I actually made it to the top 5. I did interview and pretty much blew it on stage. I'll share it tomorrow with my coach because Vera Morris, she told me to tell you hello. She was my coach.
I said, hey, I love Vera.
So I'll have her on tomorrow. She's amazing. I'm surprised she still talks to me sometimes. But I told everybody I would say it tomorrow, but I blew it. I totally blew it. So the skills you learn from that, I learned to take public speaking that just because I was on Dawson's Creek during that time as well. So it's like, just because you're used to talking to a lot of people, usually it's other people's words, not your own. So I learned a lot from that experience, and just the sisterhood of it all was surprising as well. Because you think everybody's there as a competition, but the only person you're really competing with is yourself, making sure you bring across your best version. But just, it was a wonderful experience. Like Miss Congeniality doesn't give it credit, which I loved your Halloween costume where you not Halloween costume. Your
our video.
Yeah.
That was so fun. Shout out to Nia Sanchez for organizing us.
That was really cute. I was like, oh.
It was really fun.
Well, okay, so let me go through and make sure, because I want to be mindful of everybody's time that had something to say. So Julio Liverpool wanted to make sure to say happy birthday.
Thank you.
Rhonda Marie says hello.
Hey, girl.
Portia Key says hello. Hi,
Hey,
girl.
Portia. Hey.
I hadn't seen her in forever. Okay, Danny Russo. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, that was probably when my daughter was on. He was like, oh my God, you guys both have great hair. Oh yeah, my cousin, she's running for Miss North Carolina USA in November.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Ronnie Cooper. She's right. Hi. Oh, somebody answered for me. Sophia's the district court judge in District 16A, serving Anson, Richmond, Scotland, and Hope counties. Thanks, Angela Tina Ray on Caraway. My own aunt. Sorry. I was just there for the swearing in. I wasn't paying attention. I was taking pictures and crying.
Yeah, it's hard to remember sometimes.
Right. And so Nicole Gatewood also says, so important to empower our female legal jurists. So enjoyed your comments. She's also an attorney up in Maryland area, my cousin. Has really smart cousins. Or family members, I shouldn't.
Yeah, your whole family.
Yeah, very smart. Speaking of smart, and families. So you and your mom going to be doing a workout tomorrow?
Yes, I'm so excited. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I got to make sure I watch that. Is there any other plans for lives or different events that we should be aware of that you can give us a sneak peek about? Or
yeah, so we usually do Instagram lives on the Miss USA account on Tuesdays and Thursdays at noon. So we have a few guests upcoming, some that I can share and some that I don't know if I can share yet. But, hopefully we have some of my Miss Universe sisters who I competed with at Miss Universe 2019 who will be upcoming. We have a couple of celebrity guests I'm very excited about. But yeah, we've got a few. We always announce them on the Miss USA stories or sometimes on the feed, but every Tuesday, Thursday at noon.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure I write this in because I love Instagram, but I feel like it's really hard to keep up with when somebody's like, there's no real way to know when somebody's gonna go live ahead of time because the feed's not chronological. So sometimes I'll see 3 days later that somebody was going to go live with a certain guest. I'm like, I would have loved to have known that. So
yeah,
I'm glad to have it on a schedule so I can know to just come every Tuesday and Thursday at noon.
Oh, yay. I'm glad that you joined today. Today was a lot of fun.
It was. I was like, I'm doing my makeup with Miss Universe.
Miss USA.
Lashes. And now I know what baked means too, because I'm a makeup artist and I've never heard of that term. I think it's something that influencers came up with, or I guess with all the blogging makeup artists, maybe, or just being out of work since 2008 for the most part. I just hadn't heard that term, so I was like, we just called it setting back in the day, but now it's.
Yeah.
So now I know.
Which is exactly what it is. Baking just sounds more fun.
No, I'm like, I want to sound like the young kids, relevant and woke. So I have some more questions for you. This one's kind of more like the fun questions. So if you had to be quarantined with another title holder, who would it be and why?
Let me see. Okay, I can't just do one. I have to do a few. I would probably say Nia Sanchez because she's so much fun. I talked to her a great deal, and she's just hilarious. I think she makes light of a lot of situations, and she would be fun to hang out with. Kenya Moore has been really helpful, and she's hysterical, absolutely hysterical. We got
great. Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kenya Moore?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you guys are friends, like hangout friends?
I don't know that she and I have ever hung out, but we were talking on the phone the other day, and she had some great advice for me. And we shot an episode of Nashville Squares, which is kind of like celebrity squares or hip hop squares or whatever they called it. Except it was on CMT, and so they pit like a former Miss USA against the current Miss USA, and she was the one that they selected. Yeah, and she was really funny and really kind and welcoming, and I appreciated that, especially because when I went on the show, I was really nervous because there were so many celebrities around me, and she was just one of those people that like reached out and was like, how are you doing? How are things going? What can I do to help? And she gave me her phone number, and she just extended kindness that she didn't have to. Right. So yeah, for sure. Kenya was dope.
Funny enough, I reached out to her, well, only on Instagram, and after hearing your talk about how many different social media accounts, I'm like, she probably never saw it. But I reached out to her about being on this week as well, because I was like, maybe not. Never know.
Yeah, although I can't imagine, how many she must have. Because I mean,
But
I know
she's a new mom. That's a lot of work.
especially especially being a new mom. But I've never known, like, the message request things that you can get. Mine just sits at 99 plus. It doesn't even count anymore. So I'm
Oh,
like, I
yeah.
don't even. Sometimes I attempt to go through them, and most times it's just like it gives me a headache to try to like sift through all the messages. And I feel bad because I really do want to be responsive to people, but that's why I keep like my email on my Instagram, so that if
Yeah.
people need to reach out to me for like, business opportunities or speaking engagements or whatever, that's where they can send them.
Okay. Because I can only imagine that your DMs are crazy. I mean, besides the people who just use message bots, they're sending constant music requests or music demos. I didn't even think about just people who were just being fans in that set. That's got to be crazy.
Which is super sweet, and I so appreciate it. It's just very overwhelming. Like for my birthday, oh my god, I have so appreciated people sending me stuff and commenting on stuff. But I mean, at one point in time, I was talking to my best friend on the phone, and she was like, she said something about posting something, and I was like, yeah, I can't even look at my Instagram. It was so overwhelming, and I showed her, and I literally on my account, I think it's called a creator account is what they've switched it to. So I have two inboxes. I have like a primary and a general.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and so like I was showing her the messages, and I was just scrolling for days, like on both of them. There were just hundreds of messages, and I feel bad because I want to respond to everybody, but sometimes I just can't.
No, I can't even imagine, because you're not just our title holder anymore as a North Carolina resident. You're the entire United States. Not to mention just general fans that probably are from Extra TV as well. Now, I know you were saying that you got a little starstruck with being at Nashville Squares. What about with being with Extra TV, even with Mario Lopez? Like, has there ever been a moment where you're just like, I'm starstruck. How do I handle this? What do you do?
Yeah, well, I've never met Mario Lopez. He's not with Extra anymore, but there are certainly like a fair amount of people who like I've met who I'm like, oh my god, please don't mess up Cheslie. Especially when I first started. Like I think the first interview I did was with Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things, and then after her, I interviewed. I think it was Zendaya and then Lizzo, or Lizzo and then Zendaya, or something like.
I love the Lizzo one where you crowned her and
it dropped. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. But yeah, so I remember vividly going into those interviews, and I still have. God, this is one of the reasons I'm glad to be a pack rat. I still have like the notes that I wrote for their questions and everything, so I know like what was going through my mind when I was writing those down. Nowadays, I usually don't memorize the like exact wording of the questions that I have. Nowadays, I just remember general topics, and I'll like sort of beep in my head through the topics. But then I literally had word for word every question of them memorized. So I was so stressed about interviewing each of them. And for Lizzo, she had 2 interviews in a row. It was like some other media news site, and then I had to go right after. And we were in this room together, and I remember the interviewer going before me was so bubbly and alive, and she was talking to Lizzo, and Lizzo was responding. And I remember talking to Lizzo afterwards. I think she was just a little tired, and she just wasn't super responsive. I remember thinking like, oh my god, this is going to be terrible. And it was great. It ended up really great. I think, obviously she's a performer, and she knows when to just like chill for a second and, save her energy and then turn things on. And that's what she really did. But it was just, I remember going and being very starstruck and very nervous.
I can only imagine, because her career has just blown up. Okay, I see more questions coming in. I'll make sure I read them through. Great interview, Cheslie. May not remember, but she took a picture with my daughter at the father-daughter dance in Raleigh back in 2019.
I do remember the father-daughter dance.
She actually sat down and had a real cool, down-to-earth conversation. She's 12 now and really remembers that moment. Thank you.
Oh, that's so sweet. I'm glad that she remembers.
It's really sweet. And then Kunta, hello. I'm repeating this just so anybody sees this later. While you're live, can you tell people to stop putting oh yeah, not doing that one. Never mind. Should have read it all the way through before. It says stop putting raisins in potato salad. Really random. Okay.
Oh,
Thanks. Well, I want to be mindful of your time. Is there anything that you would like to share that, or any exclusives for us to know before you have to go on to your next thing?
No, just that, I appreciate getting to talk to you and the questions that you had. I think there are so many people from North Carolina who have been incredibly supportive of me during my journey. So it's exciting for me to continue to have that connection with everybody from back home. So really just thank you.
Oh, no.
And thanks for bringing your sweet daughter on. She's adorable.
And I know every time I meet you, I'm always like, so what's the hair products that you're using? And so since I still have time, might as well go through your hair routine, especially since you're able to keep it so healthy, even though you go from straight to curly. Because when the pandemic first started, we did straight hair for a while because I was like, man, I'm sure you're going to be sleeping in and it's going to get matted. So let's go straight for a while. And then the humidity hit and I was like, okay, yeah, back to curly we go. Mm-hmm. So any tips that you have to share for all the curly hair girls out there, or men?
Yeah. I think a lot of people ask me for a curly hair tutorial or routine, and I've got one. I have one on my Instagram, on my IGTV, and I go really in depth about like my full hair process, which is very, very long. But the high level tips that I like to give people is less about products and more about just hair care. Because I think like when I was younger, especially when I had just done the big chop and like cut my hair off and it was like 3 inches long and I just cried because I felt like I looked like a boy. When I was going through all of that, my sister, who is a hairstylist and specializes in natural hair, kept telling me like, you need to get your trims. And I was like, I'm trying to grow my hair. Why would I cut it? And as my hair's gotten longer, I started realizing the importance of getting trims, because your hair it just has a hard time, or at least mine had a hard time getting longer if I didn't do trims, because the trims would get rid of split ends. But if I didn't do the trims, the split ends would go further up my hair shaft and then my hair would just break off. So I'm like, get your trims, because it keeps your hair healthy and it will help it to get longer because you're getting rid of that dead hair. And mostly just stay away from flat irons. Like I flat iron my hair like maybe 3 times a year. And I think, like you said, it is a super great option when you're not doing anything, which is why I went to Miss Universe with my hair straight, because I just wanted to be able to maintain it for a while. And, with curly hair, you got to redo it a lot. But other than that, I'm very seldom do I flat iron my hair or put heat to it. And I've appreciated that Chi, one of our huge hair sponsors, they've got tons of great heat styling products like flat irons and curling irons and everything. But, whenever we go and, do product demos or whatever, they've got a great product line that allows me to not have to use any of their heat products. They've got some curly hair creams and shampoos and conditioners. So just like staying away from the direct heat for long periods of time helps.
Yeah, and I have to say, just even, I'm sure with all the different things you want as Miss USA, the amount of money you're probably saving with just having the hair sponsor. Because my daughter's hair, I'm like, that was like the first thing I had to go back out for, was because we were out of shampoo and conditioner. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yep, I get it.
It is not cheap to be a curly girl.
No. And I appreciate brands like Chi, because I do, I'm an esthetician, so I can go to Cosmoproof to buy it, that they have large sizes, like back bar sizes, because the little small 8-ounce bottles, just speaking to all cosmetology companies out there, for curly hair, that's like a weekend, maybe. That's like hotel bottle sizes for us. So,
yeah. Well, and I've seen some brands that have started doing, like, they'll sell products, shampoos and conditioners in pairs, but the conditioner is like twice the size of the shampoo, which is very smart.
That's how
to use things.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because I like, even then because I live in an area there is not a lot of ethnic hair care products nearby, so Target and Food Line was kind of my limit, and I was like, I don't even know these brands. So I started like asking online for different suggestions where I could get it, because I had never ordered from Cosmoproof online and didn't realize I could do it that way. But it's like, what brands do you guys recommend? Because I'm limited to Food Line and Target if I go to the store or online shopping. So thank you again for reminding me of Chi as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I appreciate your time, and thank you so much for being here with me today. You've been amazing. You're such a great role model, and I really appreciate all that you do for the community, especially for women, to be that voice. And I really appreciate it that you were on my show today as well.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Seriously, like I said, it's always great to connect again with my NC people. And I appreciate your support and coming to my event when I was in Raleigh. And like I said, please tell your daughter I said hello. She did a great job.
She walked right in at the right time.
Hey, girl, you did so well. We've been talking about you.
She said you did so well. We were talking about you.
Yay.
You guys are adorable. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, and happy belated birthday. Oh, wait, how did you celebrate? Did you do
I
anything
hung out
special?
at my house, which is like exactly how I wish I could have spent every birthday.
Well, I didn't know if you did like a Zoom party or something.
No, I'm such an introvert. I prefer not to. I was like, please just leave me alone. And I just screened most of my calls for the day and just like got to be left alone. Which
Yeah.
was
Well, who knew? I guess because you have 6 siblings, is that right?
5. I'm one of
5.
6.
Oh, you're the 6th. Okay. I guess, yeah, that maybe growing up with a lot of kids would make you like your silence. I'm an only child and she's an only child. So it's like, where's the people? Well, for me anyway. I need people. More people.
Yeah.
So I'm always fascinated to hear of introverts, especially doing something like pageants and being a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks again for being on today. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you. You too. You guys be safe.
All right. You too. Bye-bye. Wasn't that amazing? Wasn't she so awesome, you guys? I love her. As if I didn't already love her before. I love her even more because she was just so normal. And I totally forgot to even ask her. Oh, no, I did ask her about workouts. So tomorrow, 11 o'clock or 11:30, make sure we go check out Miss USA's workout. And maybe I'll meet you guys there. Hopefully. I need to get my workout on. I was doing so well like the first 3 weeks, and then my sugar addiction kicked in. All right, well, she doesn't help.
That's me.
All right, so I'll see you guys back here at 6 o'clock with Kara Khan. She's going to be on to talk about her brand new appearance on the Council of Dads, which airs tonight at 10 o'clock on NBC. All right, see you guys then. Awkward bye time while I find the stop button.
Technical difficulties.